Montana, big sky country. Protecting this rugged wilderness is a brave group of men and women. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of the last best place. The cold and snowy season descends on Montana.
They try to jump the fence, and they miss it, and then it tangles up, and they start to fighting it. You can see how she messed up her shoulder, and then she gets all twisted up in there, and they can't get out.
State Game Warden Joe Cambick responds to a report of a dead elk outside the town of Deer Lodge. The culprit, barbed wire fence.
It's just a bummer, but it's a fact of life for these elk because they gotta jump a lot of fences. Unfortunately, like I said, it's a fact of life and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Tens of thousands of miles of razor-sharp wire spider across this part of the state. Wardens say they often see wildlife tangled and killed in fences. Come spring, Montana's game wardens help with a solution. Warden Cambick lends a hand on a much-needed wildlife fence project paid for by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
I traded my gun belt in for a tool belt, and we are building fence, and I should get back to work before they get mad at me.
Locals help an area rancher mend his fence using a new technique designed to keep the cattle in while protecting wildlife from dangerous barbed wire.
The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Anaconda Sportsmen, and Montana Game Wardens, a Game Warden Association, have got together to help the Perkins Ranch build some fence, some wildlife-friendly fence, which is really important. You know, we want this to kind of be a testament that, you know, of landowners, sportsmen, and wardens working together to solve a problem.
The top and bottom strands of new fence have no barbs. This allows elk and deer to better jump fences without becoming tangled.
We have a lot of wildlife. The elk numbers, they seem to go down the valley more and more and get into the agricultural areas where you've got the hay production. And it causes a problem as you've got cattle on one side and the hay on the other. As the elk cross, they knock those fences down and bring the cattle with them.
The plan here is to try to put up a fence that the elk can cross back and forth through, the deer, lots of whitetail mule deer, so that the fence stays up enough that the cows can't get out. This type of a fence doesn't work everywhere, but it works in a lot of places, and we're thinking this is worth a shot. We're gonna try to make this work, so there's a little bit more tolerance for the elk. He gets really upset when, you know, he's trying to make a livelihood out here. They knock the fence down, and then he's chasing his cows, and he's spending all day doing something that he didn't plan on doing that day, and then gets behind. I'll let Scott give the nod, and if he likes it, let's dig a hole and put a brace in. Sportsmen need to be as proactive as possible. They need to get out there this time of the year, talk to ranchers. If there's an area they want to hunt, they got to go out and talk to them now. And they got to do stuff like this, help them fix fence, help them brand, help them whatever that they need help doing, so that come October, November, they can secure a place for themselves to hunt.
You think about, you know, the migration routes of animals. Well, it creates a lot of problems with landowners. They have a limited amount of resources, monetary and labor. And when you have a, 300 head of elk working through your fields every night, that creates a lot of destruction, especially on your fencing systems. So, this provides some relief for the landowner. Not only does he have material, but he's got labor to do things that might take him several days to accomplish. We're able to do it in a couple hours. But it also provides an opportunity for education. We're educating the sportsmen and the landowners that we have a wildlife-friendly fence that we hope is going to prevent a lot of damage in the future.
I taught hunter safety for 30 years. Projects like this are good for the future of the other hunters coming along, so I'm all for that.
The more we do, the more productive we get, and the more we do in projects like this, the more property we're going to be able to keep open to hunt. That's our national heritage.
Every day, game wardens think about this issue, every day. We are the face of Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks, and we are the canary in the mine. When something goes wrong, we're usually the first to see it, and we're always the first to try to help out. This is just another example of seeing a problem and coming up with a very positive solution that's going to benefit people for years to come.
North of Kalispell, Montana, Warden Captain Lee Anderson begins a 2-day remote backcountry patrol.
Well, we're gonna go do a little backpack patrol through the Jewel Basin. We've done a lot of work up in here with rehabbing some of these mountain lakes. It's a real popular place to go hiking, and the only way you can get in there is to hike. Whew.
Wardens often work remote areas on foot.
Made it up here to the lake, so we're getting our camp set up. But now we're gonna head out, hike up to another lake, so we gotta hang our food.
This is bear country. Before Anderson starts his patrol, he hangs his food pack away from his camp.
We'll take all our food, we got all our attractants out of our packs, and hang them up in the tree, and it's gotta be 10 feet off the ground, 4 feet out, and in theory, that'll keep the bears out of it. And so it's probably not bad, too. That's 100 yards from camp, too. What the heck, gets a little further away, any attractants that might have just to the food itself. Move it away from our tent, so
Remote assignments come with a few perks, too.
you don't see that every day. Oh, sweet. Look at that thing. We're gonna hike out now. It's about another 2.5 miles up to another lake. See if we can't check some more anglers. We checked one person coming out fishing. They ended up not having their fishing license with them, and gave them a written warning for not having it on their person. Shouldn't be too bad of a hike. We've got all the elevation out of the way, so it's pretty gradual. But we got out of our sweaty hiking shirt, wear something a little more official now, and go see if we can hopefully contact some anglers. There we got somebody fishing. Sucks to walk all the way over there. Well, you turn around and walk all the way back out, but that's what we're gonna do. We really like coming up into these mountain lakes periodically. You know, it's so busy down in the valley, you hardly ever get in here. But you make one contact up in here, it'll spread like wildfire.
Anderson circles the lake and approaches the unsuspecting angler.
I'm a game warden up out of Kalispell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see if I could check your fishing license real quick, which is great. We rely on that more than us being actually in here. Okay, this is last year's fishing license.
Oh,
Probably gonna be a green one. Maybe.
Actually, I don't think I renewed, to tell you the truth.
It's the thought of us being in here that hopefully, you know, folks that are on the edge of thinking they need a license or not, maybe that'll push them to actually get one. But, you know, it helps pay to keep this resource, so it's pretty critical. So I'll explain this to you. Fishing without a valid 2014 fishing license on Birch Lake, Flathead County, okay?
Okay.
But, yeah, just get that before you go out fishing again next time, and then you'll be squared away and good to go. Appreciate your cooperation, all right? Thank you, sir. All right. Well, so we just checked this guy, and he had last year's fishing license, which expires in February, so ended up issuing him a citation for fishing without a license. But he's real cooperative, good guy, understanding, so I like that better. And he said there's a couple other guys up here, and I know we saw those guys fishing, but he said they were packing some pretty good heat, which is pretty typical. You just got to be careful, you know, try to use good judgment, officer safety, and trust your instincts. You guys having any luck?
Wardens learn to always expect the unexpected.
Nice. That guy's voice sounds really familiar. And it might not be the same guy, but it sounds like a guy that we had cited for some violations here a little while ago.
State Game Warden Lee Anderson patrols on foot high in Montana's remote Jewel Basin. He spots two men fishing. Both are armed. Anderson cautiously approaches.
How you doing?
Oh, fishing.
Yeah?
The warden instantly recognizes one of the men. He's ticketed him for past violations.
How are you? Lee Anderson. Remember? Warden captain, but...
Where?
Out of Kalispell. All right, well, you got your fishing license with you, bud? I'll check that. You come up here quite a bit, you guys? Not too often, no. All right. All right.
How'd you end up down here?
Just hiking around.
Seen it?
I could hear you guys down here, so I walked down here.
Be quieter.
You gotta be a little stealthier than that, huh? The drones we had up spotted you.
I see now.
Well, fellas, have a good day, huh?
Their licenses check out, so he moves on.
You know, you prepare for the worst, but a lot of times it works out to be nothing, and that's all that ended up being. But I thought I recognized that guy's voice, and it ended up being who I'd thought. And we have a case with him right now. We gotta get settled. I don't think it's been settled yet on that timber stuff, but anyway, he was fair, good to deal with, and so we'll move on to the next lake and see if we can check some more fishermen.
On the southern end of Region 1, wardens check another fishery a bit closer to civilization.
So we're down here today on Noxon Reservoir at Thompson Falls. Doing is our saturation patrol just to really hit this stretch of water. Thank you.
We just do this every year. Get out on the water, check fishermen.
Do you have your license?
Water safety checks.
Have fun with them, they're cool, but just give guys distance, all right? Other than that, you guys are doing good. Life jackets are good. So just be courteous. Tom works down here pretty much on his own, so we can help guys out. We'll come down and basically hit it with 3 or 4 other wardens and just kind of make our presence known on that day.
Boats can only be registered under Coast Guard law for 3 consecutive years. Sunshine, it's going to be warm out. Probably work quite a bit this afternoon and see what we come up with. Great, thanks a lot.
Well, we appreciate you guys being out here.
Yeah, you bet.
Kind of a good way for wardens to get together and see what goes on in other people's districts.
Today was a great day. Compliance was phenomenal. You know, most people out here are following the rules, not breaking the law. Well, thanks a lot, you guys. Looking forward to doing it again next year.
Near Glacier National Park, Warden Chris Crane patrols water with fishing restrictions.
So we're on the North Fork of the Flathead River. Right across the river there is Glacier National Park. The rest of this is all Flathead National Forest. We've got some special restrictions for this area. You can't intentionally fish for bull trout. So we have certain areas that are closed. One of the areas are some of the tributaries. Big Creek actually flows into the North Fork of Flathead. Right there is the outlet. And there's a closure on there seasonally from June 1 to the end of September. It's listed in our regulations in 2 different spots. And you can see there's actually an angler down there right now, fly fishing within the closure. It's closed within a 150-yard radius of the mouth of Big Creek. So we're gonna go down and make contact with this angler and see what's going on. Hello. Hi. How's it going? Good. You're fishing in a closed area.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Okay. Yeah, you got your fishing license on you? Okay. For bull trout protection.
Oh,
There
okay.
there's some tributaries on the North Fork that are closed.
Okay.
And they are Big Creek, Coal Creek, Whale Creek, and Trail Creek. We usually put signs up, but we haven't gotten those up yet, so I'm just going to write you a written warning.
The state normally posts signs marking areas off limits to fishing. Since the signs are not up yet, Crane decides to cut the angler a break.
So you have an option you can do with this. You can stick it in your vest as a reminder.
The warden uses this situation to educate and moves down the trail.
Just a educational moment, I guess.
When patrolling the backcountry, wardens always prepare for the unexpected.
How's everybody doing?
Crane discovers a hiker who fell and severely sprained his ankle.
What I'm hearing. Looks like he actually has an ER doctor as one of his buddies, which is pretty handy. Who's the medic? You are. Okay. I've got radio. We can call for help. You know, if he gets out. They didn't want any assistance, really.
But no, yeah, appreciate it, but we'll be good.
Okay. Is there?
We do know you're behind us, so.
I don't want to leave, and then you guys need something, you know.
No, I appreciate it. I realize where you're coming from too.
Yeah, yeah.
I think really we're gonna be all right, but we'll get through.
Okay. All
A
right.
lot of times he's a tough old bird.
Yeah. Okay.
The men decline assistance, but Warden Crane won't walk away quite yet.
Well, you got 1.5 miles or so of one of the nastiest, worst trails in the area. 10 after 4 now. 10 o'clock, it's dark. How far have you guys gotten in the
Oh, we've come through the hardest section, is down the waterfall and all that. Otherwise,
Okay.
we've made a better time. I think once we get down to the camp, I'd say we can make it easy by dirt.
Okay.
He's doing pretty good on it with this crutch.
Okay. My concerns would be that they got to spend the night up here. If they do that, then you have to hike out in the morning, which are not, they have some gear, but they're not really prepared. I'll probably call just to report it, to let them know. Okay. In case things turn south. Another concern is you're walking down this and it starts to get dark, you get tired, maybe your back, shoulders start hurting, then you got more complications. Trip again or whatever, just compounds from there. But they're traveling really slow. I mean, it's taking them an hour to get less, like 1/3 of a mile. But they're pretty content on doing it by themselves. So I guess you can't help somebody who doesn't need or want help.
Warden Lee Anderson works alone on a remote foot patrol high in Montana's Jewel Basin. The warden keeps an eye on several sensitive mountain fisheries, remote lakes where anglers rarely encounter wardens.
Catching a few fish, huh? I'm a game warden, not a Kalispell. Just out checking some fishing licenses, so. You guys got your licenses with you?
I don't have a fishing license. I didn't catch it.
I have one, but I don't have it on me.
Okay.
Is there any way to look it up?
Why don't you stick your axe over there in the tree? I don't think you're gonna gore me, but we'll take that out of the equation. What I'll do is I'll fill out a written warning for you with your information all on it.
Okay.
You know, you're supposed to have it with you, but we'll follow up on it, make sure you got one.
Neither of these anglers are carrying a valid fishing license.
I've got all your contact information, and I'm gonna follow up, look and make sure you got one. If you do, we'll just leave it at a warning.
Okay, perfect.
And if you don't, then I'll be getting a hold of you.
Okay.
But you got one?
Yep.
Okay. So with you, though, I do have to issue you a citation for not having your license, okay? I'm writing him just a warning because he doesn't have it with him. But you don't have one at all, so you gotta have one if you're gonna be fishing.
Okay.
So.
How much is the ticket?
Actually, the ticket, it's up to the judge.
Fishing without a license often carries a fine of $135.
It's anywhere from 35 to 135 usually. Somewhere it falls in there somewhere.
Okay.
I'd recommend getting a license, especially if you're gonna go fishing
This is my
again.
first time fishing, so.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just get it taken care of by the 11th. And,
Great, I'll go in on Monday and do it.
And you don't have to worry about anything after that.
All right.
So.
Great.
But yeah, sorry about that.
much.
Appreciate your cooperation,
absolutely.
fellas.
Yeah.
Okay. I will hate to break one other bad news to you. You actually can't have fires within 500 feet of the lake. It's a Forest Service regulation.
So is it okay to build a fire up around
just
those parts?
Stand next to the lake, take about a couple 100 steps, and build yourself a campfire. Yeah, thanks, fellas.
This precious Montana jewel is remote, an area off-grid where rules are sometimes ignored, but the presence of a warden has made a statement.
Survived 3 days, had a good trip into the Jewel Basin and checked quite a few fishermen. quite a few hikers. All in all, I'd consider it a success. You know, anytime you can check a bunch of fishermen in the backcountry where they don't expect to see is a good thing.
If you're going to enjoy Montana's backcountry, you still have to have a license.
Did end up citing a number of people for not having fishing licenses, as well as writing warnings to people who didn't have it with them. So hopefully the word will get out that we're out there and more people will make sure they have that stuff with them or buy the licenses before they get in there. But just a great trip. Pretty lucky to be in Montana and get something like this pretty close to home.
Montana, big sky country. Protecting this rugged wilderness is a brave group of men and women. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of the last best place. Just after sunrise,
Smells like elk, that's for sure.
Montana Game Warden Matt Heaton takes a long, cold walk and discovers trouble.
Straight ahead, there's that little lone juniper. She's laying right there dead.
Montana's Region 5 is home to one of the state's largest elk populations. Big numbers of deer and elk lure in hunters who don't always follow the law.
All right, pretty fresh.
Warden Heaton takes a tip call.
Oh, so it's plain sight. All right, have a good one. Bye. Yesterday morning, we had a hunter. He saw a herd of elk, went out, basically drove through a private subdivision, parked in somebody's gate, walked through their yard to a fence line and shot a cow. Went up, gutted it, drug it down the hill, and that's where the deputy met him. They left it there. I went back in with him. Well, the landowner actually went out there today, just walking around, and 10 yards from the gut pile, there's another dead cow elk sitting right next to the gut pile. So this guy shot 2 elk, so I'm gonna go up there to try to dig a bullet out of that carcass, and then I'll have to go interview the guy again and add some more charges onto him. So he was already in a lot of trouble, and now he's gonna be in a whole other world of trouble. So welcome to Red Lodge.
Over in Region 3, winter grips the mountains. Outside the town of Dillon, Warden Rick Schmock keeps an eye on the local elk.
Snow day. It's the first real snow day of the 2014 hunting season, and the first snow day is just the same thing as it is for kids in school. It turns into quite a play day. Like right now we're watching, there's 3 different groups of elk out here with probably 5 or 6 trucks up on the hill above them, and these have a tendency to turn into a bit of a shootout. Elk get elk running and crossing the road, and we've got an intermixture of BLM and private right up here. So we're just gonna sit here for a little bit and watch these elk and these hunters and see what happens.
Heavy snow drove the herds down out of the mountains. Now the elk sit on public and private land. A tempting situation for hunters. The warden takes a Tipmont call.
I just got a call from a guy that's down on Bannock Flats, and there's somebody driving down there where no vehicles are allowed, and they screwed their hunt, scared the elk away. The guy's name that called was Jimmy, and his phone number is 925.
Rick calls the complainant.
Hello, is this Jimmy?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Jimmy. This is Game Warden Rick Schmock. How are you?
Good, Rick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Hey, I just got a call from Tipmont. What do you got going on there?
We're out on the Bannock Road. We're on the east side going up into the Little Rockies.
Okay.
And we came down, hiked down on a bunch of elk, and there's a truck down below us that's driving on a closed road.
Oh, really?
They actually cut them off. This group of elk's about to cross the Bannock Road right now. It's going to be a frickin' slaughter.
Is there a bunch of people there?
Warden Schmock realizes he might have a dangerous situation. Elk on the move and multiple hunters with rifles.
And then came back up. But yeah, they're about to cross the main Bannock Road right now. There's one legal bull in the bunch, a lot of spikes. There's about 4 or 5 cows.
There, what was the vehicle driving off-road? What was its description?
Dark gray, 4-door, headache crack. It's dark gray or green. It's a 4-door Chevy or GMC.
Okay. All right, I'll start heading that way. Like I said, I'm just up here by Red Butte, so I'll try to get there as soon as I can.
Rick makes a beeline to stop the trucks before things get out of hand.
It's elk hunting, 21st century. There's this dark Chevy that was driving on a closed road.
In Montana's Region 5, State Game Warden Matt Heaton responds to a tip call.
Monday morning, I had a hunter start down this road into a neighborhood and parked in front of somebody's house before walking out and shooting some elk. On Monday, when I dealt with him, there was only one elk. I never did go out to the actual kill site where he shot it. The elk had already been drugged down the hillside. He seemed cooperative, so I didn't do any further digging. I thought it was an open and shut deal. Got a call from the actual homeowner, the landowner up there, who said he walked out to the gut pile and found a second cow elk laying there dead next to the gut pile. So because of that, I'm going to take some more evidence. It just kind of helps solidify our case against him. Straight ahead, there's that little lone juniper. She's laying right there dead.
The second animal lies just feet from where the suspect says he shot another elk.
And there it is, clear as day. There's an entry wound. So that other gut pile should be somewhere right over here. He said it's only about 10 yards. Yep, here's his drag. So this is where he shot the elk. She fell here, tumbled here, he gutted her there. And that was where the first one. And from this one, from where he's standing here gutting, it's plain sight to the second elk that's laying here dead.
Heaton hopes to recover a bullet that might tie the suspect to the second shooting. On the snow-covered mountains outside of Dillon, Montana, Warden Rick Schmock searches for a gray pickup. A caller says the truck chased elk on a road off limits to driving.
There's this dark Chevy that was driving on a closed road. Maybe, maybe not.
Schmock stops to investigate.
Get out and visit with these guys real quick. How are you guys?
Fine. Good.
How was the hunt?
The guys got one down here. We were just watching them here.
Oh, yeah. Did this guy shoot from the road then?
Jumped the
fence?
He jumped the fence.
Okay. The reason I ask is we got a call that there was somebody shooting from the road along here somewhere. All right, guys, I'll let you get back to it. Have a good day.
This appears to be a different group, not related to the Tipmont call. Rick keeps looking. Further east in Region 5, Warden Paul Lupke takes another tip call.
All right, well, I tell you what, I'll be there, in about an hour or less, and then we'll meet up and we'll take care of it, all right?
All right.
Well, we're heading into Absaroka right now to go deal with the guy that shot supposedly a big bull elk, got out with a couple of his buddies, and they lied to the landowner. He told her that he did have a permit. She was kind of suspicious of that, so she asked if I'd look into it. I did. Turns out he does not have a permit. And I don't think they were ever going to tell me about it. I think they were just going to try to get it into the meat processor in Billings. probably divvy it up, call it good. But I talked to him on the phone. He's agreed to meet us at his house and take us to go see the elk. So that's what we're gonna go see if we can find right now. I'm Paul.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
Doing fine.
Okay. Just hop in my truck. I'll just visit for a minute, and then we'll go fetch that critter. All right. All right. So let's just go from the beginning. What's going on? Why the heck am I here?
And we was on our way towards the vehicle, and we'd heard the shooting out in front of us, so we was trying to hurry a little bit. And it was a long ways. And I'd gotten down there, just walking towards my vehicle. And it was a long ways, it was still a long ways off, and I'd cut down a coulee. When I was going down this coulee right there, there's a bull. And I said, okay, what do I do with this? I'm from the old days, you don't.
Now wait a second, you're telling me you didn't shoot this thing?
No.
Okay.
And I haven't even shot my gun. I didn't even practice this year.
You're just saying you found a dead bull elk there?
Yeah.
Okay, who shot it?
I have no idea.
The man says he did not shoot the elk. Paul wonders why the hunter never reported the dead elk.
Well, look, you know me. You've run it. Listen, just stop. I know, but look, you know me. I've been here for quite a while now. This is my 10th hunting season here. I'm not hard to get a hold of. Everybody has my phone number. Averill has my phone number. The sheriff's office have my phone number. Probably half your neighbors up here have my phone number. It's easy. You can call 911.
Warden Lupke isn't buying the story.
I read that Montana hotline on the things that you're supposed to do. You know,
I know, but Sam, just listen to me. This is why it's not making sense to me. I know this is why it's not making sense to me. That's why I know there's a little bit more to this than what you're telling me.
Montana has a lot of elk, but in some places, too many elk compete with agriculture, impacting landowners' bottom line.
That being the case, the overriding goal is to get elk populations to population objective.
To try and manage elk, Fish, Wildlife Park sets an elk objective for a given area and then uses hunting to try to stay within that objective. But currently in the 138 elk management areas, 80 of them have too many elk.
We have statute telling us, we have landowners telling us that we need to manage to population objective, and we know that, and we're being very serious about it. And so the thing about shoulder seasons is that will hopefully give landowners and sportsmen the opportunity to help us manage elk to population objective.
This year's shoulder seasons is a pilot project focused on a few areas in central Montana. If successful, shoulder seasons will be expanded to allow hunters more time in the field, to help landowners bring elk to objective.
What a shoulder season is, it's a regular season that hunters can participate in that could be earlier or later than what we've come to know as the general season. They will be open to anybody that is legally can hunt in that area. It's not a roster system. You don't have to be on a roster. It's not a game damage hunt.
FWP hopes with hunters and landowners working together, these shoulder seasons will be a viable tool for managing Montana's elk.
It has to be a community effort, but we're very optimistic that it will work.
I'm Winston Greeley, out among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
Region 5 Warden Paul Lupke is interviewing a suspect. A dead elk has been found, and no one claims pulling the trigger.
Listen, I know.
You won't find my bullet in it or his or none of them.
Well, if I do find a bullet in there and it matches one of those guys, I'm going to be seriously unhappy.
Well, I am too.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that, no, we didn't shoot. I mean, Joe shot up on the hill.
Is there a chance that he could have winged it?
No,
not knowing maybe it traveled down there?
I don't think it would travel that far.
This is all in 575, right? This is over by the Buttes, by the Twin Buttes.
Yeah.
All right, where does Joe live?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Montana Game Warden John Lasofsky patrols on a remote road outside of White Sulphur Springs. Storm damage stops him in his tracks, literally.
I think we're done. I should have had my note to self, put my saw back in my truck.
Wardens stock their trucks for the unexpected. He finds a handsaw and gets to work.
You get all the huffing and puffing. But if we can get through, this will save us 15, 20 miles.
The warden uses a tow strap to clear the cut branch. Such is life as a Montana game warden. Now, it's time to work.
Got a call from the sheriff that basically had a mule deer buck up here that's all tangled up in twine and wire, so we're gonna see what kind of condition it's in. Is that it right there? That has to be it.
Lisowski arms himself and heads out in the field.
He's got his head still up.
Wounded deer can be unpredictable.
Is he looking this way? This thing just isn't. I'm not happy.
The warden must approach with absolute caution. In Montana's Region 4, Game Warden John Lisowski cautiously approaches a mule deer buck tangled up in baling twine.
Hold it. Yeah, I'm not gonna let that go.
The tangled animal appears too stressed to flee. The warden makes a tough decision.
This deer was stuck out here. We usually have an antelope buck or any of the mule deer pops that get into this vet wrap they have up here, the wrap that they have for the bales, sometimes baling twine, sometimes just the wrap itself. This one looks like it's got the wrap. Been tangled up, couldn't get up, wrapped around its front leg and its throat and its horns. And in the end, would have just tried to keep going, but he'd end up suffering, so we put him down.
The deer had a massive amount of twine tangled in its antlers and around its body. This animal won't be wasted. John will donate the deer to the local food bank. Over in Region 5, Warden Paul Lupke investigates an illegal elk kill on private property.
You're saying that I changed it?
He talks to a suspect who says he found the animal but did not kill it.
No, wait a second. You're telling me you didn't shoot this thing?
No.
Paul heads into town to talk to a second potential suspect.
Would you mind just jumping in my seat back over there? But if you're leaving me with any kind of false story, especially a recorded statement like this, I mean, you're going to be in some significant trouble. Is there any chance that you want to change what you're telling me now?
Nope.
Not at all?
That's all I know.
The man says he did not kill the elk.
You sure?
I know.
Okay, because I'll let you go right now if you're comfortable with leaving me with that information.
Yep.
And we got to figure out who shot that, and we will figure out who shot that.
Wardens confiscate the elk and perform an autopsy to look for further evidence.
So that came right out there, didn't it?
There's lead right there.
Yeah. So we just did what we call a necropsy, basically peel the hide back and see what the bullet did. Found just a tiny little fragment of lead in there, but not a good solid bullet. But it's a pass-through, which means it went in one side, went completely out the other side, and the better part of its shoulder was pretty damaged, so we're confident that it was shot and probably went down really fast. So I don't know at this point if it helps us that much, but depending on what they tell us, it might match up with something they give us later.
For now, this case will remain open, but both men remain key suspects. Further east, Warden Matt Heaton also investigates a dead elk case.
The only remotely saving grace of this whole thing is I don't need to worry about taking care of meat or anything, so I can just cut what I need to cut and be done. So here's my bullet hole. That's where it entered in.
The warden hopes to recover a bullet that might match the kill to a suspected shooter.
So that means the bullet's somewhere up in the hillside. Shoot. I'll take a sweep with the metal detector, try to find that bullet. My odds are pretty slim at this point. I'll give it a shot. The case will be a little harder to prove now. I won't have that smoking gun piece of evidence of that bullet that can match to a gun. Instead, I've got two witnesses that heard two shots. I've got an elk gut pile 80 feet away. I've got a second elk dead in the same spot. If he didn't shoot it, he had to have seen it. And why he didn't mention it, there's been no one else in here hunting. The circumstantial evidence is piling up against him, so I don't have the bullet which I was hoping for, but I still have enough to charge him anyway.
Uncovering the truth is paramount to a warden's job.
A lot of times, they'll just sit right on the hide.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The job of protecting the precious resources of Montana, America's last best place.